Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for my rational perspective on Chelsea 4, Sheffield United 1. Emphatic, expressive, exhilarating, glorious. How many ways to describe that performance? It really was wonderful to witness tonight. Chelsea going into the international break on a real high. The improvement in this team. I think tonight, in terms of mentality and the contrast we can make, not only with games we've seen so far this season, in terms of managing games when they go against you, dealing with adversity, but also last season and comparing that as well. Chelsea, despite falling behind very early and losing that clean sheet record, the way we responded, the way we dominated that game, the way we controlled that game, and some of the individual performances, including one magic performance from the Wizard of Amsterdam turning up at Stamford Bridge and putting on a show tonight, was majestic. It really was. This is Frank Lampard's Chelsea. This is what I want to see from Frank Lampard's Chelsea. Controlling, dominant, flair, just flair. The attacking talent we have on that pitch, I think we all knew this, that there was an ability this season to see some of the best football we've seen at the Bridge for many years. And we hope now with certain performances and with the chemistry starting to click, we'll see that more and more. But I think other elements of the game as well need to be praised. Going into this game, in terms of the 4-3-3 being reinstated once again, this is the formation now. This is Frank Lampard's formation. He has to stick with this one. It's working. It's flowing. Even when he makes slight alterations to the team like he did today, I think that you can see how it elevates the players, how there are players forming chemistries out there. There are patterns of play. There are patterns of attacks. And that's something that I love to see from this Chelsea team, because at times under Lampard, we haven't really felt that way. You start to see things come together now, and that's due to the personnel we brought in over the summer. But I also think obviously Frank Lampard working with this team, then playing more this season, not having a pre-season. But Kovacic coming in was a surprise, and I have to say I think Kova had a good game today. He made one big impact during the game, an off-the-ball run and an assist for Tammy Abraham for the equaliser. I think you have to be impressed by Kova's performance, sort of dealing with when Kai is not there, the concern over Georgie and Kova, the way the midfield sort of changes, but I think Kova can be proud of his performance. But going behind so early, of course, from a set piece, really sluggish, especially two players, Ziyech and Kante, going after the ball watching basically, not tracking the run of Bulldog. It was cut in, and of course McGoldrick scoring against Chelsea, love scoring against Chelsea, and that clean sheet record goes. And it's an interesting moment for Chelsea, because in what has been a good run, a dominant run in terms of defensively, how does the team respond to that? Now I want to contrast this with the way we responded when we went 1-0 down to Sheffield United in July. We absolutely collapsed. There was no response from Chelsea. Today you saw something different, and I think Liam Toomey made this point on Twitter that I think is really important, and I think it strikes the contrast and improvement we've seen from Chelsea. Imagine Chelsea at home, especially when we were struggling at home under Lampard last year. We go 1-0 down to a team as regimented and balanced and sort of organised as Sheffield United, and that confidence of an early goal. Chelsea could end up losing that game like 1 or 2-0 like we saw last season, but this Chelsea team isn't like that. We do have creativity. We dealt with that adversity very early on, and we just started playing. We started playing our game, started getting into the right positions, moving the ball sharply and crisply with intent and a progressive nature that I love to see. And I think even before we got the goal, I could start to see Chelsea were going to get space in this game. There was movement, there were patterns that you saw. Ziyech and Reece James, that right side, we're going to come to Hakim Ziyech, of course, for his influence over this brilliant win. But I think that Tammy Abraham, it's so important for Tammy taking his opportunity when he's getting it at the moment, having a contribution, setting up the first goal against Burnley, scoring against Rennes in midweek, and scoring the equaliser today. Brilliant finish, but I love that move. And of course, it all originates from Hakim Ziyech. A lovely ball. But as I said with Kova, that late off-the-ball run into the box, really finding space and splitting the Sheffield United defence, and Tammy just hanging back a little bit. Kova's intelligence to cut the ball back to Tammy. And, it's a little bit of a scruffy finish, but he gets the job done, and it's 1-1. And from there, Chelsea just continued to dominate and flow. It felt like we were growing and growing, and it felt like there was just blue wave after blue wave, that Sheffield United, despite some good moments for them in the first half, just couldn't deal with Chelsea tonight. They really couldn't. And that second goal, once again, Hakim Ziyech, the left foot, and we're going to talk about this, of course, with the third goal as well. How do you deal with that ball? As a defender, it's almost impossible to defend that, because Ziyech puts the ball in, and he put several crosses that had just gone a little bit too far for the likes of Chiwell and Werner earlier on in the game. But you could see he was going to find space, dropping a little bit deeper. A nice set-piece routine from Chelsea that caught Sheffield United out. but the ball goes into the box. Chiwell using his core to put the ball in. A bit of miscommunication, I'm sure, but once again, when Ziyech puts a ball of that quality into the box, it's very hard for defenders to clear it, really. It's just that danger area where the keeper can't really commit and the defender doesn't know what to do, and if there's a player running in, you have to track that runner as well. It's the brilliance of Hakim Ziyech, that creativity that is so dangerous for teams to defend against. He did it against us for Ajax. He's doing it now at the bridge for Chelsea. It's wonderful to see. And once again, our fullbacks being so crucial to the way we attack. We didn't see this dynamic last season enough, and now we have that with both Ben Chiwell and Reece James. And I think once again, the contrast I can make in that second half to the way we were 2-1 up against Southampton just after the last international break, and how we dealt with that second half, how we didn't deal with that second half against Southampton, and eventually drew the game 3-3. Very chaotic. Chelsea had no control, to the way we dealt with this game tonight. I think it shows you the difference in structure, the confidence we have within this team now, the balance we have within this team now that we haven't had in the past. And I think that's down to players like Thiago, Silva, like Edouard Mendy, like Chiwell, like Ziyech, players coming into the team to really improve the setup. But I think also you've got to give credit to Frank Lampard, and I think the mentality of certain other players that I don't want to miss out tonight, because I think it's very easy to just pinpoint, say, one player tonight and really focus on him. Mason Mount, once again, absolutely exemplary. Once again, putting in a brilliant performance. Those switches of play with his right foot are wonderful. They're just majestic to watch, really. And I'm so happy for Mason Mount, because he's elevating his game this season, finally in his correct position, his favourite position, and he's excelling at the moment. And it's great to see Mason, because he's proving a lot of people wrong. A star performer tonight for Chelsea. And then you're looking at that second half, and once again, sort of dealing with that game 2-1 with not long to go. You're always going to be nervous, right, in any situation. But I think it just shows you the difference, the way Chelsea went out there, killed the game, were dominating that game, did not let Sheffield United get any sniff at our goal throughout that second half. And I think it shows you the defensive improvement, that despite scoring early, Sheffield United barely got into the game again. And when Chelsea were on top last season, there was always that uncertainty that the game could easily turn against us, that we could become very fragile within seconds. Not anymore. And it came, of course, from Thiago Silva scoring his first Chelsea goal. Ziyech, another ball into the box. It was almost identical, and I think it basically was the free kick he took at the Matthew Harding against Chelsea last year for Ajax. I was right behind that free kick he scored that went in for Ajax last year. This was another brilliant ball, and it was great to see Kurt Zouma being intelligent in the box, blocking off Sheffield United defenders, and Thiago Silva rising above everyone else as the captain tonight, putting the ball in the back of the net to kill off the game, but also get his first Chelsea goal. I was happy for him, because Thiago Silva's been brilliant for Chelsea so far this season. And almost within seconds, Ziyech gets another assist, a wonderful ball over the top, and unfortunately Timo Werner just missing, lobbing Ramsdale, hits the post and goes out. I mean, that would have been glorious, but luckily Timo Werner did get his goal tonight. And Timo isn't really flourishing. He's not excelling in his game. He's not being the dominant player, but he's still scoring goals. He's still getting goals. He scored 2 the other night against Rennes. He scored today. He scored against Burnley. He scored against Krasnodar. He's scoring a lot of goals at the moment. And I think even if he isn't in full flow as a striker, and as a fan watching a striker like Timo, paying that money to bring him in, he's scoring goals at the moment. You cannot complain about that. Yes, there are certain things I'm sure he'd like to improve in his game, in terms of really dealing with chemistry and a lot of the attacks coming through the right. But I think Timo, you can't sniff at what he's doing so far for Chelsea, really, and he hasn't even hit top gear yet. And I think that's a wonderful thing to look towards. I don't really want to miss out any other key performances. As I said, Reece James once again, glorious. The relationship between him and Ziyech, you can see it now, and it is so threatening to teams. I've spoken about this with many guests on the channel, and I've spoken about this on the channel. What do you do as an opposing team to Chelsea? Because can you limit both of them in one game? What do you want? Ziyech crossing in with his left foot, or Reece with the quality crossing in from his right foot? Both can be equally as deadly. We saw Hakim Ziyech tonight, and Ziyech was just glorious. He really was. He was man of the match. He was adding everything you want. That creator, that creative winger is going to unlock tight defences that we lacked last season. In a game like tonight, Hakim Ziyech changed that game for Chelsea. And it's wonderful to see. There's a confidence about him. There's a calmness. There's almost a slight arrogance, but just enough for a player with that much technique and that much guile and skill. And I know that my mate Nini FC, I've got a video coming out in collaboration with Nini where we talk about Hakim Ziyech and how great Hakim Ziyech is. So please stay tuned for that. But those are my thoughts on the victory. We go into the international break in the best way possible. After that, international break, we've got the dreaded trip to St James's Park. I think if we win at St James's Park, I think we're in for a good season, because we never win at St James's Park, to be honest. But this is the best way, it really is, and it shows you the improvement and really, rubber stamps what has been a good period for Chelsea, basically since the Sevilla game, of defensive improvement, of structure, of solidity. But now we're starting to see that attacking expression come out once again for Frankie Lampard's Showtime Blues. But thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonofChelsea, and I'll see you again.